Suzanne? Oh, is Suzanne? Is it Rachel? Okay, bring her on, Dave. Bring her on. We gonna bring her on. Hey, you
I
see?
wish Rachel was here.
Hey,
Thank you for having
Suzanne.
me.
Thank you, everybody. This is Suzanne Guy. If y'all don't know who she is, she's a very, very strong pro-life. I can't even say advocate because we're talking about her life when the doctors told her to give up her baby, and she took and listened to God and the Holy Spirit, and she got an awesome story to tell. So, Suzanne, before I even run off my mouth even more, because it touched my heart, I'm gonna go ahead and let you tell your story and then Rachel's story also.
You are so kind. First of all, thank you, Lucretia, so much for having me. I've been following you. I love your heart for the Lord and your boldness and all you do for the Lord. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I wish my Rachel was here with me. My story really starts many years ago, back when I was in high school, and I was not even pro life back then. I would have said I was pro choice. My daughter doesn't like that language. She says, Mom, it's pro abortion. But that was my mindset. And I always really try to encourage people that I was just following the narrative, thinking I was loving women. And God really got a hold of me and showed me that not only was I not loving that innocent human being made in the image of Almighty God inside the womb, but that I was not loving women. So God really changed the posture of my heart. I repented, asked forgiveness for believing the lie that abortion could ever help anybody. And I said to God, I will do anything I can. And I was, asked for forgiveness, and I was pro-life. And it was during that journey that I met my husband. And after college, we got married. And honestly, Lucretia, the sad thing is, I didn't know the ways to get involved in pro life. So I just want to say that.
Okay.
That's one of the things I'm so passionate about, is that everyone knows there's a role for everyone to play. There's a place for everybody to get plugged in, to fight the good fight, to love women and men well, and protect that innocent human being in the womb. And my husband and I struggled with infertility for many years. And that was a time of really drawing even closer to the Lord. And so sweetly, I felt him so clearly saying one day, Suzanne, it's such a beautiful desire to want to get pregnant, but you've made the dream more important than the dream giver. And that was really a freedom in my life. But I will tell you, for anybody in your audience listening and watching, I want them to know, if you are struggling with infertility, if you know someone who is, know that Jesus sees and hears and cares, and you are not alone. And he catches every tear, because that truly is such a painful road. As I went back to school, I thought, it didn't seem to be in the cards for us to have children. And I thought, maybe God wants me to, go back and get a master's of education and love on other people's children. And lo and behold, one day when I continued to go to the store to get that pregnancy test, there were the lines on the pregnancy test. So I was screaming it from the rooftops that I was pregnant. And because of that, um, I was told, because we had such a difficult time getting pregnant, to get into the hands of a recommended practice, a recommended doctor that I was told, was one of the best. And I never thought to question it, nor did my husband. We were actually thankful that people cared about us and we had a referral. But I will fast forward through that journey. And at one point, we were told we needed a level 2 ultrasound because I had refused an amniocentesis.
Mm-hmm.
And at 22 weeks, my husband and I were all excited to go in for that ultrasound. And at the last minute, he got a business trip, but we were so excited to go in for this ultrasound that we just decided that I would go without him. But Lucretia, I'll tell you, I was not prepared for what was about to happen during that visit. I was, lying down on the table with a gel on my stomach, looking at the most beautiful image I had ever seen of our precious child. I didn't know she was a little girl then. And the tech said, hey, I need to excuse myself and get a doctor from the practice. And this doctor that I'd never met before came flying, what felt like flying into the room in a very animated voice, sharing that I needed to have an abortion. Half my amniotic fluid was gone. My baby must have a chromosomal abnormality not compatible with life, is what she was saying, must not have any kidneys, bladder. And I could die, and my child most certainly would die.
Wow.
And Lucretia, I'll tell you in that moment, um, truly, all those years of being drawn into closer intimacy with the Lord, his voice was the loudest in my head in that moment. And I'd spent so much of my life with Suzanne's voice being the loudest in her heart and mind. But in that moment, I went toe to toe with this doctor and said, no, I will not abort. I mean, Lucretia, I couldn't believe
How was that
that
the
somebody in the
first
medical
thing?
field.
Right.
I'm sorry.
How was that going to immediately just run in there from doing an ultrasound and just say, okay, here's the option, abort, and not do any further testing to make sure? Uh, how was that the first thing that came out their mouth? That's the question.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that.
Wow.
Exactly. I will tell you what, I thought I must have gotten one of the craziest doctors in the practice, and it was absolutely shocking to me. But we would find out that it is not uncommon for doctors to do this. That's the tragic thing that we would begin to find out in our journey as people would reach out to us and talk with us. We live in such a culture of death that even the medical field, that supposedly has taken an oath to do no harm, would say that the solution to a child with a potential diagnosis, that the solution is a death sentence. It gets worse though, Lucretia, it gets
Okay.
worse. So I refused. And she said so many different things to me. Your child is already so malnourished. Your child is already, she used the language, I don't think they use this anymore, growth retarded. It didn't matter. She acted as if my child was all of a sudden disposable and had lost her value when she had not. We don't lose our value,
Right.
as you and I know, because of a diagnosis. So I refused. She said, fine, go home, come back in 2 weeks. So I left sobbing, absolutely devastated that a doctor would say the solution to our child's issue in the womb would be a death sentence. I contacted my husband immediately on his business trip, and he said, Suzanne, I'm going to call your main OBGYN. We both thought we just got the crazy doctor.
Right.
Um, so he contacted my primary OBGYN, and he called me back and he said, Suzanne, this doctor said just drink more water. Now, Lucretia, how can we go from one doctor saying something totally
Death,
outrageously
death.
sick?
They pretty much said death, and your doctor, main doctor, is telling you to drink water. So the very first thing, it is a 22-week old in gestation, is to say, oh my God, you don't have any in a antibiotic fluid, so you need to go ahead and have an abortion. Not test you for anything else, not to get you to a hospital to put you up on to get more tests, but
Thank you.
immediately we're gonna go ahead and say Planned Parenthood you. That don't make any sense.
That is so powerful what you said, and I've never heard it put like that, but that's so powerful how you said Planned Parenthood you. Exactly, and that's what so many doctors are doing. Well, I thought that was pretty radical. I called my mom, told her what had happened, asked her to pray. Fast forward to 24 weeks. I said to my husband, I don't care if you get called out of town on business, you are coming with me. So at 24 weeks, he comes with me, and it's almost a carbon copy of what happened before, but this time, this same OBGYN said, your child definitely has a chromosomal abnormality not compatible with life because you now have no amniotic fluid. So she went on and on. I could die. The child most definitely would die, would not live. If the child lived, the lungs would be such a train wreck that the child wouldn't live for long. And when we refused, she then sent us to talk to yet another doctor in the practice. But Lucretia, this was even more chilling because this doctor, I'd gotten all cleaned up. We went upstairs. We were in his office, sat across from him, and he continued to tell us in the most calm as if he was not talking about anything of any significance way, sharing, look, you need to have an abortion. You will have other children. To which I said, I don't care if I have 100 other children. This life matters. We want this child. And he said, you're not understanding the gravity of this. Your child, he went on, blind, deaf, mental issues, if the child even lives, your child will have no quality of life. To which I said, our child will have a great quality of life because our child will know the unconditional love of Jesus Christ.
Oh, they probably got you out of their practice after that.
Well, I will tell you, it's interesting because my husband said clearly we will not abort. So what will you do for us? And this doctor said, in all my years of practice, everyone in your position has aborted. Lucretia, this is such a picture of the power of the medical field in the face of vulnerable parents getting horrible news about their precious beloved child, trusting the medical field to do right by the parents and the child, to protect the child, to fight for the child, to give good counsel on fighting for the child, to give health care. Abortion's not health care. And this was the answer. This is what these doctors did to all these precious parents.
I have a question for you. Do the doctor's office get kickbacks?
You know what? I've got to tell you something. I cannot answer that question, but I've never had anybody ask that before. But I will tell you what, that is an absolutely outstanding question that I am going to personally research because we know during COVID, doctors got kickback. A lot of things were exposed. I wonder if that's the case when they insist on abortion.
Here's for you. Do you have a rarity in your bloodline? Is there something in your DNA or the baby or Rachel's DNA that they needed that to test on? Because you just ain't finna sit here the first thing out your mouth and you've never solved this patient before. You've never had a checkup on him. You don't know who they are. And the first thing you'll be like, hey, they need an abortion. And then you're adamant 2 weeks later. What is up with y'all blood? Maybe it's your blood. Maybe it was Rachel's blood. Maybe it's something that she could cure cancer. Maybe there's something in your genetic chromosome that they need to get their hands on just to test a little bit more, because there's a guy right now who is now, his blood has venom capabilities to protect over, 10 different snake bites. Just this guy DNA. So is there something special about your blood? We know the blood of Jesus is very special. Is there something,
yes, it is.
Is there something special about you or Rachel's blood at that time? Because they hadn't even had a amniocentesis on you to try to figure out why the amniotic fluid was low to begin with, to say we want to go ahead and just take life.
It's so, Lucretia, you bring up so many outstanding points. And it's absolutely disturbing that they did not try to fight, honor a request to fight. And like you so beautifully and powerfully said at the beginning, wouldn't they at least do some kind of testing? And I will tell you what, when we went home after that doctor visit, we were devastated. No intention of aborting. We valued our child. We knew our child was not all of a sudden disposable. We knew our child was valuable. And I want to tell all parents out there, if your doctor ever tells you to end the life of your child, you tell that doctor no and run for the hills. We went home and, we started calling family, friends, asking them to pray. We were going to shut ourselves away, not go to church, not go to work. And we called my amazing mom. And Lucretia, you will so appreciate this because you are such an amazing, strong woman of God. You remind me of my mother. My mom said the most simple, beautiful statement. She said so compassionately, Suzanne, is there still a heartbeat? And I said, well, yes. And she said, Suzanne, if there's a heartbeat, there's hope.
Yes.
And Lucretia, in that moment, we hadn't even realized that we were living like our daughter had died. We didn't realize our eyes had come off of Jesus. In that moment, it was like the biggest Jesus shot in the arm, from God's heart and mouth to my mother's heart and mouth, with one beautiful, compassionate statement. She interjected hope We had our eyes back on Jesus. We're like, we're going to church. We are going to fight for our child. We are going to pray for our child. We went to church that Sunday. My husband and an amazing pro-life OBGYN talked. She said just what you so beautifully said. She said, I'm going to call your main OBGYN. I know him. And I'm going to say, won't you honor their request to fight and offer some tests to find out what's going on?
Right.
So that next Monday, she calls us. And she said, I called him. And I said, won't you honor their pleas to fight for their child? And won't you at least do some testings? And Lucretia, this doctor said, the only test I will offer them is an autopsy.
Well, he don't need his license anymore.
You know what? And that is what we thought. That is exactly what we thought.
He don't have bedside manners. He doesn't have compassion. He doesn't even have candor. He doesn't have any sympathy. How would you? He don't even know how to pray. He didn't even tell you that the heartbeat is still there. There's options. There's hope. There's anything. It's now you can't tell me this clinic or doctor's office not getting a kickback. If they actually get hospitals get $25,000 for your placenta, that's why they snatch it off of you so fast and get rid of the placenta, because they actually get money for each and every placenta. They're telling me something. They must be getting something at their doctor's office for every Planned Parenthood that they do.
I will tell you one thing I learned in this journey, Lucretia, because I had and there is a happy ending, so I'm going to get to that, but it's so powerful what you're saying, because there's something I learned, and that was I don't want to say I had doctors on a pedestal, but I think I assumed that they went to medical school. And there are many great doctors who do this, but I assumed all doctors went to medical school because they valued all lives. I did not think they placed value judgments on who's valuable, who's not, who's worth fighting for, who's not. I thought all doctors practiced healthcare, which means doing the best you can, fighting for the lives of children, whoever's sick. But in our medical field, and again, there are many great pro-life doctors, but there's also a culture of death where many doctors dehumanize the children in the womb, place value on children based on their location and their health status, also manner of conception. And instead of seeing this as a unique patient that must be fought for, there are great doctors out there, Dr. Lyle, Dr. Berchelsky, so many amazing pro-life doctors that fight for and see both patients. But there are doctors like the ones that I had that devalue patients. And all this to say, this amazing pro-life doctor from our church got us into the hands of doctors who were amazing. They were like the amazing Dr. Lyle's, amazing Dr. Berchelsky's, who fight for all lives. And I have to give those doctors a shout out because they're so incredible. They are leading the charge, showing the value of both patients, both mother and child. But she got us into the hands of other doctors. They immediately, just like what you were saying, you are so insightful. They immediately put me on bed rest, best care I had had my entire pregnancy, monitored both my daughter and I, and 3 months early, at 1 pound, 2 ounces, Rachel Mary, little Spitfire, entered the world. They said she would be too weak to cry if she was born alive. The first things this amazing doctor said was, she's squawking. 5.5 months in the NICU. And now, 27 years old, her whole life, one of the kindest people I've ever known. She is a force and a champion for life, one of the most humble, kind people. I always say I gave birth to Mother Teresa. Not a thing wrong with her. But even if everything had been wrong with her, even if she had not lived, she was still made in the image of God, valuable and worth fighting for, because every child, no matter how long they live, no matter health status, no matter manner of conception, are made in the image of God with a purpose and a plan and must be loved, protected, and fought for.
Now, I did read, and I was reading earlier too, y'all go to actual Planned Parenthood clinics and talk to these women. What do you do when you go? Because I know you're not allowed for so many feet in front of the door, but as you're seeing these women distressed walking in there, Are they very receptive to y'all praying with them, talking to them? Because we know that Planned Parenthood do not do ultrasounds. So they're never going to see that image of that baby inside of them. They never get any of that, and they think there's no hope. When y'all approach them for prayer and to talk to these women, have how many have you touched to give these ladies a second chance and their children?
You blow me away. You blew me away before I even got on this show. You do your homework. You are amazing. Yes, my daughter and I lead Marietta 40 Days for Life and Sidewalk Advocates for Life. We've been doing it for about 7 years. And I cannot even tell you the number of women we've spoken to. It's countless women. We have an amazing team, an amazing team. I've got to brag on our team because these are the most loving, Christ centered, amazing individuals that love women well. And I will say, in 7 years, and we are very far away, our location, we have had over 100 women given hope and over 100 babies saved.
Amen.
And I will tell you, we're kind of far away where we stand, but God still allows us to have many conversations. And Lucretia, I'm going to tell you, most of the women we speak to are, first of all, blown away that there is hope and help. They are blown away that there are people out there, our team, and there are teams like this all over Georgia and the country that love Jesus, love women, and want to not only listen and hear their stories, but journey with them and offer them real
Real hope,
hope and
yes.
real help. Enter into friendship. We've given cars away. We've paid rent. It's not always a financial need, but sometimes it is. But more than anything, most of the women we talk to, and I'm telling you, we've been doing this like 7 years at the Marietta Planned Parenthood and then earlier on at other clinics. The majority of women we speak to are these precious, amazing women who don't want to abort,
Right.
who have been lied to by the culture, are afraid, backed into a corner, often pressured by a family member or a boyfriend, or sometimes just terrified. And like with all of us, even if it's not an unplanned pregnancy, this side of eternity, we all face scary things. And we all need someone who is like a person, Jesus with skin on, that says, I'm here to listen. I'm here to care. There is hope. There is help. And that's what these precious women need that are going into Planned Parenthood. Because we know, just like you said, Planned Parenthood offers them despair,
Yes.
death,
Yes.
destruction, will take their money and never be in touch again. But our group sees these women, loves these women. We are there to be friends for a lifetime. We are there to journey with them. And we are there to be, again, what we all need when we're in a crisis situation, someone calming and loving that points to Jesus
Amen.
and the hope found in him.
Well, I can tell you this. A lot of these women think that having a baby is a death sentence, either for their future, the culture, society thinking that you could get rid of kids like you get rid of a pocketbook because it's just a clump of cells.
Wow.
No, it's not. And I just wish if there's anybody out there listening right now, having a baby is not a death sentence. That does not end your life. Actually, it makes your life begin because God is just giving you an extra you and he's giving you more responsibility. Normally having a baby makes you grow up. You're going to trip, you're going to fall, you're going to gnash your teeth, cry, shout at the baby, but you know what? You can't give up and you can't. Uh, One thing that Planned Parenthood and these, I call them baby killers, don't do is remind these women you're going to always remember what you've done. You're going to always have nightmares. It's not a bed of roses. You're going to be hearing baby heartbeats. They don't tell them that. You're going to be hearing babies crying out of the blue. It's only because of what you did to yourself, and you cannot come back from it. God will forgive you, but you're going to deal with the consequences of your actions, no matter if it's something internally to where they destroy your uterus and you won't have a baby again, or if, like I said, if it's scarring up your scar tissue, or just, not taking care of you properly. There's a better way. It's always a better way. And there's so many programs out there. There's so many faith-based programs that never
Yes.
think that killing a baby, and it is a baby. I don't care about a zygote. I don't care if it's an embryo. I don't care if it's a clump of cells. It's a baby. That is not your body anymore. So it's not your body, your choice. It's an extra body that needs. You're just a vessel. So thank you so much for keeping that faith, and thank you so much for giving all these women out here prayer, hope, and faith, because that's what they need. We got 2 minutes left before the bottom of the hour. I'm gonna go ahead and take that out and let you take it out. Go ahead.
Oh, you are such a love. Thank you for your heart for the Lord. Thank you for your boldness for children in the womb and for women. And I will close on this note. As my mother so wisely said, if there's a heartbeat, there's hope. If anybody in your audience is facing an unplanned, unwanted crisis pregnancy, even infertility, please, may they reach out to you. You can reach out to me. Between you and I, we have so many amazing resources, people that will journey with them. We can get them plugged in to so many great ministries and great people that want to love, help, and offer real hope and real help. God bless you, my friend. You are just a delight.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Tell Rachel I said hey. So
I will.
everybody, we'll be right back. Go ahead, Dave.
Dear friends, family, and supporters, my name is Nadia Hamilton, Lucretia's niece, and I'm reaching out with an urgent plea to help save the home of Lucretia Hughes, a true American patriot, a devoted mother, and passionate advocate for freedom. Lucretia has faced unimaginable challenges, including the tragic loss of her son to gun violence in 2016. Yet she continues to fight for saving America, our veterans, and your Second Amendment rights with unwavering strength. We are launching this Give, Send, Go campaign to raise $350,000 to help Lucretia keep her home, provide stability for her family, and continue the messaging for our country. Your support can make a real impact. Lucretia has always been there for others, speaking out against injustice and supporting causes that matter. Now it is our turn to stand by her. Every donation, no matter how small, brings us closer to securing her home and giving her the peace of mind she deserves. Click the link below to contribute any amount you can. Every dollar counts. If you can't donate, please keep Lucretia and her family in your prayers. Spread the word by sharing this campaign on social media, with friends, and in your community. The more people who see this, the closer we get to our goal. Thank you for rallying around Lucretia in her time of need. Together, we can keep her home and continue her powerful work. Let's show her she's not alone in this fight.
He got his own walking theme song, Dave. Well, our next guest going to be coming up soon when Dave reset. So welcome back, everybody, to the Real News with Lucretia Hughes. Like I said, give that baby a chance. I didn't give that baby a chance. And it's not easy, but give that baby a chance. Having 4 kids before I was even 20, sometimes, and I look back and I wonder, wow, but I didn't want to give myself that chance. So when I got pregnant at the age of 14, of course, I went to a Planned Parenthood. And it really wasn't a Planned Parenthood. It was a pregnancy center in Gainesville, Georgia. I went by myself because I did not want my mom to know. They didn't give me that choice. First thing they did was place a little plastic baby in my hand, and they was saying, this is how big your baby is. And just having Krishan, who's my son, my oldest there, I couldn't. So I made a grown-up decision at the age of 14 because I was that vessel, and I just can't imagine not having any of my 4 here now. And I don't ever want to give my girls a choice for them to ever do that, because I'm not going to beat them over the head. I'm going to be like, ooh, I got a new grandbaby, and give it here, because I don't want any of my offsprings to not know